Hello and welcome to Deathlord. This is going to be my tutorial on the game and the user interface and character creation and the beginning of my Let's Play, so I can finally beat this game after 37 years. So that's going to take hours and hours, so don't hold your breath. A quick interrupt before we get into it. At the top of my comment section, I have a pinned comment that says, comment here and support each other by subscribing to each other. Let's build a community. So you can comment there and you can drive traffic towards my channel and drive comments and traffic towards your channel as well. I get subs and you get subs and we grow together. Let's build a community together. Let's get back to it now. I'm also playing this on the Applewin emulator, so let's get that going, shall we? Go to my disk drive 1, and that's the boot disk right there. Now let's start the game. Bang, I love that sound. Now this is the interface screen that you see when you boot the game up. And here you have your beginning options for the game itself. By the way, I'm also going to be mapping as I go. Certain dungeons that I'll be having difficulty and keeping track of where I am and where things are. So that'll be a nice old school aspect to this Let's Play. So that'll be fun. Probably not anything on the beginning continent, but once I get to dungeons that I know I want to keep track of where I am because reasons. So that'll be fun to see. I got to get some graph paper. But all right, let's get started. This is the interface screen for the game itself. You can't use the mouse to interact with anything, but you can use the keyboard. There's utilities, and you can press the letter of each option you have here, like U for utilities, C for character options, and P to play a game. Let's look at utilities first. The letter U. So with all these options, you can press the beginning letter of each one. T for transfer characters, C for change character name, M for make scenario disks, B for backup character roster, and R to return to main menu. Utilities lets you transfer characters, and you can do that from Bard's Tale, the original Bard's Tale, or Ultima 3, or Wizardry. Those were games that were all pretty popular when this game was being programmed. So I never did this, but it was nice to see it, but I preferred making my own characters in the game. But it was nice to have the option of being able to take characters from these other games, and they wouldn't transfer as the same level, like if they were game finishing characters from Bard's Tale or Ultima 3, but they'd be level 1 or 2 or 3, I think. I never did it, so I'm not sure. But a kind of fun aspect to have in the game. Change character name. I'm not going to do this, but you hit enter and then it lets you, it asks for your scenario disk, and you can change the names of your characters, which is kind of fun if you just get tired of your name and want to make it something else. Make scenario disks. This is pretty big for the game. Back in the day, you got the actual physical game here, and inside you had the boot disk and the scenario disk. And the scenario disk was double-sided. It had side A and side B, and all of the content for the gameplay was on the scenario disk. And so you could not play on the master disk. Otherwise, if you did, you'd be killing all the bosses permanently and getting all the gold permanently, and you would not be able to play the game more than one time. So you had to make copies of your scenario disks over here. I'm not going to do that because I will just download the files off abandonware. That's kind of the beauty of this being an online game nowadays. There's no disks, there's just software you download. So there's that. All right, here's the next option, backup character roster. This you would need another scenario disk, a blank new copy. And you would do just that. You'd back up all the characters on that disk. And so that's a great thing to do. And the manual actually recommends you do it because it knows the game is very difficult. So you would back up your character roster on another disk. And if your characters died somehow, many ways in which that can happen, you could just reset the game and use your other scenario disk and bring your other characters back. And now return to main menu. There's the letter R. Boom. And the boot disk was already in the disk drive. So you can also play a game. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to go to the magical screen of character options. Here's where you're going to put your scenario disk in. There's the disk drive icon. I'm going to go find your files. And here is my scenario disk. And press enter. Bang, there we go. All these options down here, you can press the actual first letter of each option to access it. And I've already made one new character, this Ryoshi here at the bottom. But these 6 names here, Masamune, Niko-san, Yamamura, Nakamoto, Akira, and Mariko, are all 6 of the pre-programmed characters the game gives you from the get-go. Kind of a pre-made party to just have you get started and go, and not worry about making new characters. I want to inspect my characters, so I can press the letter I. And here's Masamune, and you can go through and look at all these characters and hit enter and look at one. And this Yakuza is from my high-level party. He's level 21 right up here. So he is quite far along. I'm not going to be using them. I'm going to make all new characters for this playthrough, for this Let's Play. But I just wanted to show you how the inspect a character option works. And so I've already made a brand new Ryoshi here, a level 1 Ryoshi. And I'll keep that character and make another 5 other characters to go with this Ryoshi that I shall make into my new party. So that's how to inspect characters, to conjure a character. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to show the rest of these and make all my characters last. Terminate a character. I don't want to do this, but you can hit enter to access terminate a character, or press the letter T, and you can go through and enter again and yes or no delete them. I'm not going to do that because I want all these characters. So there's that option. The next one is assemble a group, and that's what you would press the letter A for or hit enter. I'm not going to do it right now because it will make me have to put a group together, and I don't want to do that. But you press enter, and then it'll ask you how many in your group, and you'll see more of this once I make my other characters. So that's that option there as well. Disperse existing group. That's when you can disperse the group that is already on your scenario disk and they're out adventuring. When you disperse them, their names appear in any blank spaces on this screen. And I'm kind of filling up here, but I don't have any groups assembled right now, so it's quite all right. But now, let's get to the magic of the game. Let's conjure a new character. And I already have my Ryoshi right here. And yes, when I make my characters, I name them the name of their class, because they're all Japanese names of the classes. And sometimes if I name them some random name, I can kind of forget what class they are, because there's a language barrier there. But let's conjure my next character. I've already made my Ryoshi, which is a ranger class. I'm going to now make my Yakuza, my thief class. So conjure a character. These are the 8 races available in the game: human, toshi, nintoshi, kobito, gnome, obake, troll, and ogre. This is where the language barrier begins. Human is human, obviously, but toshi is kind of like an elf, and the manual even describes him as being intelligent and good as magic users. And so if you have a background in D&D, you kind of get an idea of what these classes are, these races are. But if you don't, it can be a little confusing, but the manual describes all of them in there anyhow. So the toshi is the elf, nintoshi is the half-elf, kobito is kind of a dwarf, gnome is gnome, and what's funny is this race being called a gnome is kind of a slip up from what the game used to be looking as. It had a Norse Teutonic Viking theme to it and a fantasy theme. So a gnome is probably a class, a race from the old way the game used to look before it got changed, before it was released. Kind of confusing, I know, but there's the gnome, and the obake is like a small group as well. They're kind of the dark elves, I think. I forget. I'm going to double check. The obake is a darker and dumber version of the toshi. Tiny and nimble, and they make fine thieves and assassins. So not enough smarts to be a spellcaster, but more than good at being a thief. And the troll is kind of the biggest race there is. Big and strong, good for fighters. And the ogre is like a human troll hybrid. So kind of a mix between the two. Smarter than a troll, but not as strong. So my Yakuza is going to be a human. Humans get the best range of stats. They don't get a lot of high stats but they don't get a lot of low stats either, so they kind of sit in a better range, but they're not as specialized as other races are. But I'm going to go through now and cycle through stats until I find the ones that I want for my class. But here's what happens when you start making your character class. These are the stats off to the left: strength, constitution, size, intelligence, dexterity, charisma, and power. Oh, and also here's what the manual tells you each stat does. There's those 7 there, and strength is the first one. I'll start with that. Strength, the amount of damage your character can inflict on an opponent during combat. You want to make your fighting characters strong. Constitution, your character's health and ultimately his or her ability to survive. A character with a higher constitution is tougher to kill. Size. Fighters tend to be large, while magic users are small. Big characters are better at smashing down doors and doing other things where greater mass is at an advantage. Intelligence. A character's mental capacity. High intelligence for magic users improves their spellcasting abilities and lets them recover power faster. So that's why intelligence is important for spellcasters. Dexterity. Agility and nimbleness. High dexterity helps your character avoid hits and land the first blow during combat. Dexterity is also important to thieves for success in picking locks, avoiding traps, and stealing merchandise. And charisma, your character's physical beauty, and persuasive abilities, which can affect transactions or negotiations. I never really care about charisma that much, but it's important to some people. But not me. Power. A character's magical aptitude. It's important to spellcasters since power determines the number of spells that they can cast. Power is consumed on a 1-to-1 ratio, i.e. a 4th level spell costs 4 spell points, power points. So that's how the magic system works in the game too. So there's the stats for you and what they do. I'm going to make a Yakuza. And whenever you go through your stats and press enter, or right now I would say no or yes if I want to keep them or re-roll. Since I'm making a Yakuza, I want to have dexterity and probably constitution and maybe strength. And this guy doesn't have the con or the strength that I want. So I'm going to re-roll. And what happens when you re-roll is it shows you what classes are available to you based on what stats you've rolled. So these stats are worse. And I only have available to me the Kozaku, which is kind of the untouchable class, kind of the peasant. And I don't want that. So I'm going to keep re-rolling until I see Yakuza. And I'll probably pause it until I find good stats, but there's another Yakuza stats rolled up. So I'm going to pause the game and find good stats that I like and show you my stats for the Yakuza when I get to them. And boom, like that. Here is a nice long list of classes that I can be. I'm going to be the Yakuza, but here's my stats, which are wonderful. And this is a big thing that us players, us gamers did back in the 80s. We'd reroll stats many, many times. And I did this. I rerolled about 12, 13 times to get these stats. But they're great. I've got good strength for my Yakuza, good constitution, great stats actually. And the size is nice too. The size helps with smashing doors and portcullises to get them to open up. And dexterity of 18, beautiful. Satisfactory, yes. That means I'm going to keep my stats that I've rolled. And then, once you do that, you can scroll down with the letter keys, the direction keys, and pick whatever class you want. And I love all the avatars of them. They're similar to other games at the time, but just had their own good flair to them. All right, and here I'm actually going to go over, and this is a pretty complete list of all the classes, but missing 2 of them. But I'm going to save these stats from my Yakuza. But for now, I want to read you off what the manual says each class is. And I'll start with the Senshi. The ultimate mercenaries. Senshi hire out to any mission that pays well. The combat-hungry Senshi can wear any armor and use any weapon. The Ryoshi, kind of one of my favorite classes. This solitary class of scouts and trackers is skilled with all types of weapons, although they favor bows and axes. For maximum mobility, they should wear light armor. Ryoshi enjoy working with Shizen orders. That means they're kind of a multi-classed class. They can cast magic, but at a slower pace than the regular spellcasters can. I'll get more to that later. The Yabanjin. Northern and primitive to the core, Yabanjan are instinctive survivalists and tough in a fight. What they lack in technique, they make up for in sheer meanness. Yabanjan shun heavy armor. Kichigai. Come battle time, Kichigais go into a frenzy, which gives them great strength, but leaves them prone to attacks from opponents. Like the Yabanjan, they avoid heavy restrictive armor. The Samurai. Another honorable order, the Samurai takes pride in his or her fighting technique. Samurai reach their skill peak with special weapons of honor. Ronin. Ronin are corrupt brutes who look out only for themselves. They enjoy a kicking, gouging fight where they can employ dirty tricks. A patron deity supplies the evil Ronin with a few Shisai spells. The Shisai is the healing magic, the healing spellcaster of the game. Yakuza. The cunning Yakuza is best at lockpicking and trap neutralizing and not so good at fighting. For extracurricular activities, the Yakuza enjoys stealing from merchants, which I never do. Not in this campaign, at least. Ansat Susha. These assassins are better fighters than the Yakuza and also have a greater selection of weapons. They possess limited thieving abilities, so I've used them before in the past, but not my favorite. The Ninja. The ninjas are specialists in hand-to-hand combat, as befits a secret order. They aren't too bad with conventional weapons as well. Shukenja. These disciples of holiness resemble ninjas in makeup, but trained for enlightenment and not assassination. Less skilled than the ninja in combat, the Shukenja compensates with some spellcasting abilities. Shisai. Shisai of different lands share common rituals and spells. They use medium-weight armor and smooth weapons, and can cast many curative and protective spells, the clerics of the group. Mahotsukai, the Wraithling of the group. Where did you go? This rare class is highly respected. They may be weak fighters, but they have a variety of potent spells to neutralize and slay opponents. The Genkai, the illusionist of the group. The Genkai confuses and befuddles opponents with a variety of illusions. Their numbers are fewer than the Mahotsukai. And the Kozaku. The peasant Kozakus are the untouchables of the realm, mainly because nobody would care to touch them. Aww. But there's some of the spells, some of the classes, not all. There's 2 missing, but I'll get to them once I get some better stats. But for now, I'm going to select my class, the Yakuza. This is where alignment comes into play. There are 3. There's good, neutral, and evil characters cannot be in the same group as good characters. So I typically pick either good or neutral characters. And I already have a Ryoshi that's neutral. I'll have my thief be neutral as well, my Yakuza. And male, female, I guess a female for now. There's no difference between the 2 sexes in the game, so it doesn't matter which one you pick. Yakuza. Here is my Yakuza. Save this character, yes or no? Here is my basic quick look at the character that I've made. I can now choose to save them or no, and I'm going to save them yes, so press Y. Boom. New character conjured. There's my Ryoshi I made and my Yakuza. Now, conjure a 3rd character. I also tend to conjure my characters in the order I'm going to put them in the party. And you don't have to do this, but it's something that I do. Now, conjure my 3rd one. Human again. And I'm going to pick now a Shisai for my 3rd character, a cleric. So that's going to be kind of fun. These stats are not great, so I'm going to keep hitting no until I find the ones that I want. So I'm going to pause until then. Keeping in mind, for my Shisai, my cleric, I want constitution, intelligence, and power. Here's some stats that work for my Shisai. They aren't perfect. They aren't great. Constitution of 13 is a little low. Strength of 10 sucks, but they're going to be in the fighting ranks, so that will be not great, but they'll do okay. So satisfactory, yes. And I'll pick a Shisai, my first healer of the group. There we go. And I'll make, some classes are only good or evil, and Shisai is one of them, so I'll make them good. Female. Shisai. Whoops. There we go. And save the character? Yes. Boom. Third character conjured. Conjure a new one. All right. Now I get to make one of the interesting ones, and I'm still going to keep making them human, even though the other races are fine as well. Toshi, the elf, are great for getting higher intelligences, but they also can have lower stats, like lower constitutions and whatnot. And I don't want to have near-death characters all the time, so I make them human most times. But you can make your characters whatever race you want them to be. Now I'm going to go after my Mahotsukai or my Genkai, whichever one. So I'm going to keep rerolling until I get stats I like for that. And I'm pretty darn happy with this human right here. Satisfactory? Yes. I've got a con of 12, which I think will give me hit point bonuses, but that's pretty low. I think the hit point bonuses from Constitution are kind of like 5th edition D&D, where a 12 still gets you a bonus. But 12 con, 18 intelligence, 18 power, beautiful. So let's make you my Mahotsukai. I think neutral, yes. And male. Mahotsukai. There we go. Mahotsuka. I can't put the I in. It won't let me do it there. Not enough characters, but there we go. Save the character. Yes. Boom. My 4th character is now made. Let's conjure my 5th character. Another human as well. And I'm now going to go for a Genkai, kind of the offensive illusionist of the group. And I'll keep rolling until I find the stats that I like. And here, bang, I found the stats that I like. I rolled about 5 times to get this. 16 con, 18 intelligence, 17 power. So satisfactory, yes. Now for my Genkai. And I'll make this one neutral as well. And I guess another male. And Genkai. And save the character? Yes. Boom, there we go. And now, conjure my last character. What can it be? I wonder. I'm going to keep rolling until I find the one that I like. There we go. I think I'm happy with these stats here. They aren't great, but they're good. And there are chances in the game to find special pools that will raise your stats here and there. I might do some save scumming at that point, but who knows? But for now, I think I found my last character, and I'm going to make a second Shisai. Save a satisfactory? Yes. I've got a 12 con, which should give me a bonus, a 13 strength, which is nice, because he'll be fighting once my other Shisai backs off of the first 3 characters that can attack. 17 intelligence and 16 power, pretty good. So now let's go to my Shisai. Boom. And I'll make that one good as well. And male. Shisai number 2. There we go. Satisfactory? Yes. There we go. My 6 characters are created. Thank you. I've made a party. I haven't made a party yet. So now, once your characters are all conjured, you can now go to assemble a group of adventurers and either hit A or enter. How many do you want in your party? 6. Always 6. You never want less unless you're suicidal. And you hit the number either 1 through 6, and I'm hitting 6. There we go. And now you pick them, and this is the order they're going to appear in the party. And this is kind of important because when it comes to combat, only the first 3 characters can physically melee attack or ranged attack. So my lineup is going to be my Ryoshi, my ranger, and then my Yakuza, which is my thief, and my first Shisai, and then my second Shisai behind that person as well. Because if someone dies, that person, whoever dies, is moved to the bottom of the party, and the rest of the group moves up. So I'll want this Shisai number 2 to be my 4th member in case someone falls in combat in the first 3. So there's my first 4 characters, followed by the Mahotsukai and the Genkai. The group is called the Avengers, and I've done this for decades. I do it because on the back of the game itself, here, it calls the group the Avengers, which I always loved, and so out of habit and nostalgia, I call them the Avengers. So save this, name the group the Avengers, bang. Save the group, yes. Group assembled. And now that they've been assembled, they're now off of the character roster list. They've been put together as a group and they're ready to play the game itself. So now you can hit R to to return to main menu. Insert boot disk. And now, the moment I've all been waiting for. The moment that I can commit to my Let's Play and finally, after 37 years, win this game. Press P to play a game. Boom. And here the game asks you if you want to use 2 drives. There is a little bit of disk swapping going on, but only once you get off the main continent, but I always choose to use 2 drives. And you can hit Y for yes or N for no. Use 2 drives, yes. And now it asks you to put in both disks in each drive. The disk drive 1, and get to my files and get to the disks you made your characters on, the scenario disk here. And the second disk drive here, I'll put in the B disk. There we go. Now both disks are in, and boom, we have entered the world of Lorne. Welcome to Deathlord. Now I'm going to post some pictures from the manual showing you all the commands that the game has. And then I'm going to follow it up with some of my gameplay to show the very basics of these. I'll probably show all of these things or go through them over the course of my gameplay. There's page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, and 18. Easier to show these and explain them all, and maybe you can explain to me how macros work. Now let's get back to it. And here is your party on the right-hand side here. This is your map showing the area around you. Let's view around. And oh, by the way, the direction you want to go in. The directional keys are I for north, J for west, M for south, and K for east. I, J, K, M. There you go. And you can V to view around you. There's some grass, a bush, a mountain, a town. I'm not going to go to the town first. I want to get into a fight first. Oh, my high-level party I saved on this map, and they were on a ship. So that shouldn't be there, but I'll save this group on a new disk and restart the whole thing. But for now, I'll do a combat. I could have attacked them, but time passes in the game, whether you wanted to or not. You can pause the time by having one of your characters, by pressing the number of your character, and it shows their character sheet. But for now, we're in combat. Now, in combat, only your first 3 characters can either melee attack or ranged attack. So your back 3 characters can only cast spells, negotiate, or flee. I'm adding this part in after the combat is done because I left out some of the options you can do in combat, and I'm going to go over those right now. The letter N to negotiate. You can bribe the monsters to stop attacking you. I never do this because they're experience points waiting to happen. The letter R to retreat. That means your character moves to the bottom of the roster of characters in your lineup here. Like the Raushi would move to the back of the line here, in case he gets really hurt or damaged or whatever. The letter S will skip your turn and everyone's turn after you if you want to get through the round quickly and get back to maybe someone else that you want to attack. Handy for getting experience points to certain members, or skipping past spellcasters because their power is at 0. The letter U lets you use certain items, like a holy symbol against undead. And the spacebar skips your turn and goes to the next person's turn. And keep in mind, these options, these commands, are just what these letters do in combat. Outside of combat, some of these do different things, and I'll go over those later on. Now back to the combat. But for now, I'm going to A, attack. Missed. I have no weapons and no armor, so should be nice. Attack, missed, and attack. Ooh, my Shisai cleric hit. This Shisai is not going to cast any magic at all for now, because I have no healing I need to do. But here is for my Mahotsukai, and I'm going to press C for cast. And it shows my power points I have available here. It's 18, and every spell you cast will take those down. And you press the... You can either type in what spell you want to cast, And the spells are all listed in the manual, and they're all in Japanese names. So you have to have the manual to look them up and see what they do. Or you can press the question mark key with the / on it and press enter, and it gives your list of spells you can cast in combat. I know that Todo is the spell that is kind of like Magic Missile, and I'll cast that one. So hit enter on Todo. Bang. One monster got hit and killed. And the Genkai shall see cast spell as well. And I'm going to hit the question mark as well to show you his line of spells. Kiri, Haibana, and Shoten. Haibana is what you want. This is like many magic missiles at one at each monster. Boom. I'm going to turn that down. That is loud. There we go. And now the round is done, and we restart top of the round. And as you can see, with the combat, there isn't a combat map. It's all here in a scrolling reader. Like you can see who you're fighting over here, but all the combat takes place in this, and it will tell you what happens in combat. And you can't scroll up or down in this. You can only see what it showed. So for now, I'm going to have my first 3 attack again. So hit letter A, attack, and A attack as well. This character here, my Shisai, is a healer, and I could have had him heal, but I'm going to take my chances. This guy is going to heal. He's a healer as well. He can't attack because he's in the last 3 of the group. So I'm going to have him cast and hit question mark or the / key to show what spells he can cast. And Nasu is the beginning healing spell you get. So I'm going to hit enter, and now on whom. Here's where you type in the number of your character you want to have healed. It doesn't show it on the reader, but the Ryoshi is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my Yakuza has 5 hit points left, so I'm going to type in the number 2. And it heals him. You don't hit enter, you just hit the number, and that's it, so you got to be careful. And now the Mahotsukai is going to cast Todo. That's his offensive spell. And he's going to cast the Genkai Haibana. There we go. See, I took more damage as well. Player number 2 hit for 1 damage. So, and the Ryoshi as well. Attack. This Shisai is going to cast Nasu. I hit C again. And I'm going to cast it on number 2 of the Yakuza. And he's going to cast, the second one is going to cast Nasu as well. On the Yakuza again. And he's going to cast Todo. You're going to cast these spells a lot, so you get to learning how to type them pretty quickly. He's going to cast Nasu on number 1. You heal a lot because if you die, it saves your game right then and there. And I talk about, oops, wrong spell. You can retype the spell again. And cast Haibana. Oh, nice. Their numbers are getting down there now. I'm going to heal no one. Cast Todo. 1 monster left. Cast Haibana. Okay, he's not dead yet, but here we go. Attack. There we go. I'm going to pause the game by pressing either 1 through 6. And that shows your character makeup, just to pause the game. Otherwise, time is going to pass, and monsters might show up, or it might start getting darker towards dusk. It's now 8:20 in the morning, and you can see the sun position and the moon cycle as well. So here's my first character. Shows you can just hit spacebar, and it goes through his different pages of his character sheet. And there we go. I have no inventory yet, so that's blank. But I just had a combat, and that just gave me experience points, but you can't see or tell how much you got. Although I know that Rickles probably knows how much experience points you get from everything. He's a programmer that made an emulation of this game with a lot of modern conveniences added to it. But you can never tell how much experience points you've been getting, and you only can tell when over here to the right you see a plus symbol. And you would see it down here where it says level. I'm level 1 plus 0, meaning I have no new levels to get. In which case, if I did, I'd have to go train. But I'm not there yet. But that is probably it for the basics of the game, of the mechanics. And here is the map itself from the game, and I'll put this in the actual video with the DaVinci Resolve. Oh, but you know what? First, I want to show you a settlement. So let's go down here, and I'll show you the first settlement. This is a village. View south. Well, it's a town. To enter a village or town or settlement, you press E to enter. E and the direction, and it's M because it's south of me. So there we go. Now I'm in my first town in Deathlord. And nothing suspicious here. I'll just move along then. This is the first town, and on the map it shows you, I think it's Kawa. Yep, it's Kawa, and you'll see that on the map that I've probably already posted by now. But there's townsfolk roaming around. You can press spacebar to like wait and let time pass and see them kind of walking around. But here's the town, and there's different shops. You can view, read, I to the north, and supplies. This guy sells you, let's talk to him real quick. Orate is talk, and you press the direction you want to talk in. Orate, I for north, and B for buy. That's what he sells. He sells torches, lockpicks, and holy symbols. And we'll talk about holy symbols more later. And escape to get out of all the conversation. There's the general store. And let's read here. That's the weapon shop. We'll orate, I, north, talk to him. And he sells tanto, bowstaff, joystick, sai, and masakari. This is where the game had a language barrier because you didn't know what these things were. There's another store, and is there a store in here? Read. Yeah, south. The armor shop. There we go. Orate K to the east, and B as well. Cloak, Hera 8, Harimdu, and Hera Makito. And the manual tells you what all these things are, so you're not in the dark with all these things. Whoops, just want to get out of there. And read. Daimyo's residence. Don't go here for a long time. Don't do it. Don't do it. There we go. Now, in these towns, this is how the game works. You want to talk to everyone, and they're not all the same. They're all different people and classes, and conversation is very simple. Let's talk to this. You can view here, and it's a Ryoshi. You can view this guy as a Kozaku, and you can view him as a Kishi. Oops, you got to catch them. They're pretty quick. Orate M to the south. And here's where the types of conversation you can do come in handy. You can type either B for buy, but not with these guys. B only works with shop owners, but you can type it here, but no reaction. It doesn't apply to him. Or you can type S to sell, but he's a townsfolk. He's not a merchant, so it's not going to work with him. You can type in T, which is to talk, and then hit enter. And he says, hello. That's nice. It's a very simple talking mechanic, but it works. This is 1987, don't forget. You can hit C for chat as well. And he says, leave me alone. Everyone is different, but there's a lot of the same things you can discover. I is inquire, and you can ask about certain names or things. And he doesn't seem to have much to say. C and T are the main things you're going to find out. And he says hello and leave me alone. So an inquire means you would actually type a word to him. And I don't have any words that I know yet because I've just started the game. So you just hit enter and it goes past that. You can also, sometimes they'll say pay up. And that means you OG offer them gold. Or you can offer someone a piece of equipment as well, and you type OI, and that's it. I have nothing like that to give him, and he doesn't have a pay up symbol. Like you'd type in C, and he might say pay up, or T. So I'm going to hit enter with no command entered in, and the talk ends. So, yep, that's it. You talk to all of them, and I'm going to be taking notes on whatever people say to me, at least the important things that I discover. So it's going to be a nice old school adventure. So, and I think I want to end it here. I don't think I want these videos to be really long, like an hour or 2 hours long. This is already like 41 minutes long now, so thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel, comment and like and share and all that, and have a Patreon as well. If you want to help support the channel in that way too, that'd be great. Yeah, please, I hope you're going to enjoy this journey with me. I'm going to love playing this and finally winning this game. It's been decades and decades, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to keep this one short-ish. Let me know if you want these videos longer or not. I think 30 to 45 minutes is going to be pretty good time to get things done, and the basic mechanics are done. Now it's on to the Let's Play, so yep, that's beautiful. So here's to the first episode of Deathlord in my Let's Play, and I look forward to all the adventures that await and all the pain that I'm going to go through in this beautiful game. So thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Talk to you later. Bye.